So, I'm 15. You know, that magical age where you're old enough to have your own opinions, just not always old enough for them to count. I'm too old for nap time, but too young to not be tired all the time. An expert at overthinking, undersleeping, and generally pretending I know what I'm doing. Basically, I'm stuck between almost and not yet. And the question I hear on a daily basis is, what do you want to be when you grow up? But honestly, I don't even know what I can be right now. Because being 15 feels like standing at a crossroads, except no one hands you a map, no GPS, no sign that says you're here. Just a crowd of conflicting voices pulling you in opposite directions. Be soft but not weak. Be confident but not arrogant. Be pretty but don't try too hard. Be smart but not know-it-all. More ambitious, more productive, less emotional, less dramatic. Smile more, speak up, but not too loud. Be yourself, but only if yourself fits the mold. And if it doesn't, you learn how to shrink. You learn how to say, I'm fine when you're not. You learn how to laugh louder than you feel. You learn how to look in the mirror and see not a person, but a project. Trust me, I've done that before. I've stared at my face like it was something I was failing at. So maybe if I just swap this, cut that, smooth this, maybe I'd finally be enough. But there's something I'd wish I heard a lot sooner. You don't find it enough by becoming smaller. You find it by becoming real. And being real, it is terrifying. Because we have all learned how to fit in, how to filter, how to perform, not how to be seen. But real is raw. Real doesn't always match. Real makes people uncomfortable sometimes. And yet, real is where all the power lives. It's doing the hardest thing first, just getting up. It's telling the truth even when your voice is the only one doing it. It is showing up and staying when it would have been easier not to. Being real isn't just about identity. It is about impact. Because this world cannot change from echo chambers. It changes when someone steps outside the script. When someone says, no, I don't think that's the only way. What if we tried something else? Because innovation doesn't start with answers. It starts with questions, with discomfort, with people who see what's missing, not just what's trending. You know, we talk a lot about future leaders. What about current listeners? The ones who've been sitting on the edge of things, watching closely, feeling deeply, noticing what no one else has. These are the people that redesign our world from the inside out. Now, when I stopped trying to be who I thought I should be, when I stood at that intersection between who I was and who they wanted, I saw something I never expected. The parts of me I tried so desperately to hide, they held the most power. The girl who overthinks everything, she's the one that notices what no one else does. The kid who doesn't fit in one box, he's not broken. He's simply full of ideas he doesn't know how to bring to life. The feelings that made me too much, they're the reason that someone else felt seen for the first time. That is not a flaw. That is innovation. No, not the kind that earns headlines, but the kind that rewrites the rules simply by existing. That is because innovation doesn't always look like machines and code. Sometimes it looks like the kid sitting alone at lunch, who later builds a world where no one has to feel that lonely again. And if we're talking about innovation, let's talk about where it really starts. Not in labs or boardrooms, but in conversations no one was ever paying attention to. In moments when someone speaks up, even when their voice shakes. In the silence that follows a truth that wasn't meant to be said out loud. Sometimes the biggest ideas don't arrive in the spotlight. They're written in the margins or hidden in between the lines. They come from the kids who ask why, the kids who don't fit the mold, the kids who challenge the rules, not out of rebellion, but out of imagination. Because when something doesn't fit, you can either force it to shrink or use it to start something entirely new. And that is where we get it all wrong. We try so hard to build our futures based on designs from the past, but what if the future doesn't look like what came before? What if the very things we're told to tone down are the exact things that could light our path forward? I used to think I was stuck between too many directions. Now I know I was meant to stand right here. I am the crossroads, where doubt and insight collide, where struggle turns to strategy, where being different isn't the detour, it is the launch pad. Because innovation doesn't come from sameness. It comes from contrast, from stories that interrupt the pattern, from voices that aren't afraid to sound different. Different doesn't mean broken. It means original. And original doesn't always get applause right away. Sometimes it's met with silence, and then it changes everything. When we're told to pick one path, one label, one major, one future, who's to say that one is all there is? What if the most powerful thing can be is everything they've never seen before? Because diversity isn't simply what we look like. It is how we think, how we dream, how we break, how we rebuild. It's the quiet kids and the loud ones, the ones who draw blueprints and the ones who color outside the lines, the ones who cry in bathrooms and the ones who never let it show. All of it, all of us is part of the design. We are strongest we're not the same, because sameness doesn't shake the world. But difference, that is where invention lives. That is where the unexpected happens. That is where our future comes from. Not from perfection, but from people who are honest enough to be real. So if you have been waiting for a sign, this is it. You don't have to wait to be known before you start showing up. You don't have to be perfect to take up space. You are not a draft. You are not a manuscript waiting to be approved. You are the first limited edition of something this world has never read before and will never, ever read again. And that is where your change begins. Because the next great solution, the next breakthrough, the next idea that will turn everything and everybody upside down might not come from the loudest person in the room. It might come from you. The one who didn't fit the mold. The one who kept listening even when no one listened back. The one who sees things differently. The one who didn't shrink. So be that mix. Be the contradiction. Be the bridge between what was and what's next. Be the crossroads. Create what only you can create. Say the things that only you can say. Imagine the world that only your eyes can see. Because that right there would be the beginning of something nobody is ready for, but every one of us needs. That is where innovation lives. Not when someone perfect shows up, but when someone real does. And who knows, that someone could be you. And that moment, your moment, could be now. Thank you.